Good morning. Are you ready to rock and roll? Well, I hope you are, because it is breaking by Weather Nation that Tropical Depression 3 has turned into Tropical Storm Chris this morning. And so, not only that, but it appears Beryl is gaining life again. Now, we watch these things and they go by pulses, and that somehow Beryl, the little itty bitty fighter, the wind shear, and the Saharan dust might knock him to the mat maybe one or two more times, but he still looks like he has a lot of fight in him and that he cannot be counted out until he is completely gone. Now, that is contrary of what almost the majority of all meteorologists are saying, but I want to remind you, most of them are also saying that he wouldn't be a hurricane. Hurricane Beryl defied the odds to become a potent but incredibly tiny storm as it approaches the Caribbean. Itty bitty hurricane defies the odds, makes fools of us all. Nope, not me. I predicted it would become a hurricane. I said it could even get to Cat 3. And we can't discount it until it is gone. You've seen zombie hurricanes before. And then over here on Chris, our newly formed tropical storm, remember, it's scheduled to just kind of rotate there for 3 or 4 days before it takes off. And people are like, it won't have any direct impacts upon land. Well, someone already died from the riptide. So here at THORNEWS, we consider death a direct impact. And B, the tail of part of the storm is now hulking, fingering Savannah. Or fisting? Okay. Whatever, man. Whatever appendage you want to use for this is our low. Another thing that I notice is on here. Okay. Here's Beryl. See that? This is precipitable water, which is water that is willing to participate in a storm. And as I've mentioned, as someone who likes to do what they can to at least keep Puerto Rico and people who have Puerto Rican interest informed, because Puerto Rico is part of America, and they have one of the highest enlistment rates since like World War I, is that look at all that, whether or not, whatever it becomes, there is a whole lot of precipitable water that is balling up like a spinning fist headed towards Puerto Rico and the Antilles Islands. And then see this moisture plume here? Notice how it's got some speed and it's got some force. What happens when it moves, and can this thing push Chris further west? That might be a little more out there, but this is all the precipitable water. But this definitely looks like there is still danger to these islands, including Puerto Rico. And they all got hit hard last hurricane season. Right there is Chris. Look at him just kind of spinning. And if you notice on here, it puts the center of him right about there. But if we check it puts the center way out there. And so it definitely, to me, looks closer than they've been showing us the whole time. And the overall, it's like Chris is part of this giant system. And so things are weird. And I learned earlier, as I was pulling video for old documentaries to make a Puerto Rico video, that was it the island of Martinique? In 1903, they had a giant volcano erupt that killed a bunch of people. So I didn't even know the Caribbeans were volcanic. But yeah, they are. So that's interesting too, right? So Tropical Storm Beryl has been reduced to a tropical storm with 45-mile-per-hour winds. But remember, it can intensify still, that it must be watched and monitored, and people must be ready And another thing is, if you go to the models, like, for all the meteorologists saying that it's dead, it's over, it's nothing, it's just stupid, like, weird. These all have barrel last all the way up there. See that? Get the other ones better. So as 99% of meteorologists are convinced that like Beryl is dead already, it seems. These models all have it lasting past Puerto Rico, past these islands. I need to do my geography better. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 different models have it curving up almost, to Virginia, or at least the Virginia horizontal, longitude, latitude, whatever. So in one model, the green one, has it curving into the Gulf of Mexico. So having 2 tropical storms in the Atlantic 3 days before our first eclipse, and then the last one of the month is on the 27th, which is the longest eclipse in 100 years, lunar eclipse, is definitely down to pay attention. It is hurricane season. So, I don't know. It's best to be cautious. I'm not saying there's going to be any major damage for sure. I'm not saying anyone is going to get hurt, although someone's already died from Chris. But if you look at this whole situation and have been following weather for the last year and a half, everything is weird, and the models don't seem to predict things that well one day out. So, rapid intensification is still on the table, and a possibility with both Beryl and Chris. And so I highly recommend the East Coast from Florida all the way up to Canada be watching this thing for changes, and Puerto Rico and the rest of the islands be paying attention to Beryl. I hope nothing happens, but watch that. That's Beryl right there. See how it intensifies again? Even if the winds knock it down, it'll probably have 1 or 2 more cycles before it comes through here. And that Puerto Rico's power grid is only 85% up. And several videos I've pulled have said if they take 1 more hit from even a Cat 1 hurricane, the whole island could be without power for months again. And so 5,000 people there died there last year. And if you look at this pattern, one thing that I noticed that was weird was Chris pulsed first, and then this whole chain, like there's Chris pulsing, and then this whole chain goes like that. So the big storm pulses after Chris pulses, which was weird. It doesn't show it very well on this one. But look at all this. Look at the way the water vapor is intensifying. What did I do there? So all the models basically say it stays off. This is now Chris. All the models say it stays off the coast and then goes north and out to sea. But like I said, stationary hurricanes are pretty weird. And as an adult, I don't even remember any. They just kind of sat there. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but it seems pretty new and rare. But if you also watch that a large portion of the United States, especially the southern portion, is going to get rain over the next 48 hours. And on here, it has Chris just saying here, maybe taking 1 step up with a tiny step, 2 steps to the east, which would be good. I'm saying at the moment, I would keep watching it. I mean, if this giant pickle dick doesn't scare you a tiny bit, and I gotta say, the one thing about, we say don't be scared, don't have fear, but there is a part of fear that makes you say, hey, maybe I need to change my actions, or maybe I need to get my shit in gear. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're laying on train tracks and you hear the train are coming, I'm not saying I guess not to get scared, but you need to still have your protective measures in store. So, this giant pickle dick has gotten a whole lot bigger. It just used to be like a normal pickle. And now it's got, it's gotten considerably larger. And so, I'm just saying, definitely, it's a good time to be aware. And I predicted last night that the next pulse we see, which I don't think we are seeing yet, could be pretty major. And so now this has Beryl headed right over Puerto Rico again. And people are so sure that it's going to be nothing, but we are watching it pulse up right now. I mean, so when everybody went to bed, Beryl was nothing. And people were making fun of it, saying, "Oh, you don't got to worry about it. Oh, we told you it was going to be nothing." And so here it is right there. Watch that. And so that is 3 times the size of Puerto Rico. So if it re-intensifies, I would guess even 60-mile-per-hour winds, and goes right over Puerto Rico, I guarantee you people are going to be in severe danger. So that's Beryl, man. And look at the size of Puerto Rico and all these islands. So see Beryl pop like that, he may die again. He may get torn down again. But we're going to see him pulse a few more times. And the models predict all the way up until he passes by the whole East Coast. So it's just weird to me when the meteorology world is like, there's nothing to worry about, man. I guess they're meteorologists. That's why I'm Planetary Defense Commander. And so far, I've been doing a great job. All right. So Beryl's over here. And what time is it now? 4 in the morning here. Let's go to, say, Sunday. So the temperatures are around 80 around here. 82, 82. 81. So these are all conditions hot enough to hold a hurricane. So, and especially around here, I think it gets warmer. Yeah, so I don't know. It's still my opinion that people need to be watching this for sure. Go with the, this is the European. There's Chris. Now it has him going kind of south. But so, I don't know. I don't think I'm being a fearmonger by saying if you were in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, that this is definitely something to watch. Hold on, crap, I gotta log in. So, good morning. How are you doing? Started getting real cranky last night. And sometimes when that happens, it happens before bad events. Just get real angry for no reason. So yeah, so that's Tuesday, and it's still just kind of hanging out where it was. So I definitely recommend just paying attention to these things. Let me go over here. Do. So there's Beryl's little life right there. So he's still kicking. And let's look at, because as the head of the hurricane agency says, it's water that kills people in hurricanes the most, not wind. The story is water. And so this has it passing right over Puerto Rico in whatever form it's going to be. And this, which would be the 10th. Yeah, so what's it, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? So Tuesday, this has Chris still about the same place that it is now. So to have a storm just sit right off the coast for 3 days, I don't feel like I'm misleading anybody by saying, oh yeah, definitely pay attention to this thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, I'll wrap this one up, but I'll definitely be around all day. Hopefully, I'll take a nap somewhere in between. But yeah, it is definitely a good time to pay attention. Anyway, I hope nothing happens. Let's all say our prayers. But I definitely think that this is worth continuing to watch. And that in this age where everybody acts like they know everything, actually none of us know much. So it's best to continue to pay attention, work together, and just adapt and have plans ahead of time for you, your family, your pets, and your friends. And even if it's a kooky conspiracy theory that this little backhammer that's above Beryl is going to come push Chris in, still seems kind of decent. Though it might go too low. We'll keep watching. That's the one thing is I've definitely learned through my few hurricane seasons is that A, turn in all report cards when the hurricane event is over, and that nobody should get cocky or overconfident until the event is over, and that we're still at least a week away from Beryl and Chris's story being done. So, stay cool. I love you. Happy Sunday. Let's have a great day today, though. Peace out. God bless everyone.